It was supposed to be just another high school basketball game, another night of bright lights, cheering fans, buzzing energy, and the rising hype surrounding young star Kian Anthony. But no one in that arena expected the emotional, tense, and unforgettable moment that unfolded courtside when Carmelo Anthony and Lala Anthony, two people whose history has been splashed across headlines for over a decade, walked into the building and ended up sitting side by side. What happened between them that night, the looks, the silence, the brief touches, the awkwardness, the pride, the unspoken emotions, became the center of discussion online. Fans didn't just see two celebrities, they saw two humans navigating a complicated past, a present shaped by maturity, and a future held together by one thing: their son. Carmelo arrived first, in that calm, collected way only he can. Dressed down but stylish, he slipped into the arena quietly, yet still drew attention. People stopped him for pictures, kids shouted, "Melo!" and he responded with that humble smile. But behind the smile, he looked distracted. He kept glancing toward the hallway, tapping his foot, adjusting his jacket. It wasn't impatience, it was emotional preparation. He knew Lala was coming. After years of breaking up, reconciling, co-parenting, separating again, and rebuilding boundaries, seeing her in such a public setting was never simple. But tonight wasn't about him. It wasn't about the past. It was about being present for Kian. Minutes later, the crowd shifted. The energy immediately changed as Lala Anthony appeared, confident, elegant, glowing, and unmistakably prepared for the spotlight she didn't ask for but always carries with grace. Cameras followed her the moment she walked in. Fans complimented her, security guided her through the aisles, and she kept her composure the entire time. But anyone paying attention could see she was focused, not flustered, not uncomfortable. Just focused, the kind of focus a parent has when they're trying to stay grounded before a big moment. When she reached the courtside section, Carmelo stood up. It was automatic, respectful, almost instinctive. Lala smiled gently, nodded, and they shared a few quiet words. Subtle, controlled, private. Not friendly enough to hint at warmth, not cold enough to suggest distance. Just two people who know each other too well, acknowledging each other without reopening emotional doors. They sat down beside each other with that small but noticeable gap between them, the kind of space that says, "We're connected, but we're also separate now." But even in that space, energy was shifting. As soon as Kian walked out onto the court for warm-ups, everything changed. Carmelo leaned forward, elbows on his knees, laser-focused on his son like he wasn't watching a game. He was watching a legacy unfold. Lala's whole face softened, her posture relaxed, her eyes shining with that unmistakable pride only a mother can feel. Suddenly, the tension between them didn't matter. All that mattered was their boy. Each time Kian dribbled down the court, Melo nodded like he was studying every detail. His stance, his footwork, his timing. Lala clapped every time he sank a shot, cheering quietly but passionately. And the more they reacted, the more they found themselves side-eyeing each other, sharing those soft, involuntary looks that said, "That's our son, look at him." As the first quarter went on, the tension melted away a little. They weren't leaning toward each other, but they weren't avoiding each other either. People sitting behind them claimed they exchanged small comments, short, simple, but warm. Remarks about Kian's training, updates on his recruiting interest, a shared laugh at something he did on the court. Nothing dramatic, nothing emotional, just comfortable, grounded conversation. The kind people share when the walls between them temporarily lower because of a shared purpose. But it was the second quarter that produced the most unforgettable moment of the night. Kian hit a deep three, a tough shot that sent the crowd roaring, the kind of shot that screams, "Future star." Carmelo jumped up instantly, celebrating like a proud father who's spent decades in arenas but still feels butterflies when watching his son shine. Lala shot up too, cheering with her hands over her mouth, overwhelmed with emotion. And that's when it happened. In the intensity of the moment, Melo instinctively reached out and placed his hand on Lala's back. A protective, guiding gesture, not romantic, not intentional, just a pure, natural reaction from years of being connected as a family. The touch lasted barely a moment, but everyone felt it. The camera caught it. Fans saw it. Social media froze it in time. And even though it was brief, it carried emotional weight because it showed something undeniable. When it comes to their son, Carmelo and Lala are still a team. When they sat back down,
Energy
between them changed again. The tension had dissolved. They smiled at each other more. Melo leaned over to say something, and Lala genuinely laughed. A soft, relaxed laugh she rarely lets out when cameras are around. It wasn't flirtation. It wasn't longing. It was familiarity. The kind you only feel with someone who has seen your highs and your lows, your victories and your failures, your strongest and most fragile moments. 5.